Nat Black Kevin, and I brought my boy Vic with me today because today we are going to be talking about the music game and the digital media industry and how that's changed it all, right? Vic, I've been doing a little bit of reading, right? And reading on specifically how digital media has changed the whole music industry and the way we consume music now. And when you look at apps like Spotify and Google Play and Apple Music and the rest of them, it seems that it's just taken music to a whole new level that we couldn't appreciate back in the day. Like, I don't want to get your thoughts on that.
100%. Always throw it back to when I started with music. You go back, you save that $9.99, you go to Virgin Mega Stores, you do that whole go buy an album, you go do the whole get your sisters, your uncles, your aunties to take you, and you buy that one album every, I don't know how many weeks, how many months, you save up that pocket money. One album. And everyone did it like that. Some people had more money to buy more albums here and there. Now you pay $9.99, however much you pay for a streaming service, and you have these brands who are talking about, we have 10 million things that you can access. And the difference now, where before you go into a shop and go, I've heard of these guys, but I heard my friend had their album and I didn't like that one song I heard. Now you can literally press play and listen to someone's entire category. You can listen to one song they made 3 years ago, listen to a song they made yesterday. Like, that change means everyone is consuming like hundreds of times more music now than they were doing, and that gives the streaming guys infinite amounts of power.
You know what, it's interesting you say that, because you know I looked at the same thing, and recently I read an article looking at Spotify specifically, and with these digital streaming sites we're able to now put a number to to the most popular genres of music out there, and it's without a doubt that hip hop, whatever you want to call it, mumble rap, this new generation is now the leading genre of music. And I look back in the day, right, and before this was that, you know, I used to get my pocket money. I used to be able to buy one £10 album a month, right? You know what I mean? I used to be able to listen to Jay-Z for 1 month, and then P. Diddy the next month, and then Ludacris the next month, because that's the only money I had to go and buy the CD. But now I could put my £10 into a streaming service, and you know what, instead of £10 a month to listen to one man, I got £10 a month to listen to every single album out there. And when you take it back and you look at who really listens to this type of music, right? You got to look at your inner city, your urban youths, you know what I mean? You got your minority who go to America. You look, you know, it's the African Americans. We're not as privileged as our Caucasian counterparts, right? So we don't necessarily have the money to be able to listen to albums upon albums upon albums back then, but now we do. So it's no doubt that these people are investing their money into these streaming services, and that is to me, that is why we can now put a number on why hip hop and you know, even if you look in the UK, grime are leading the charge.
There's a very interesting way of kind of explaining how our genre, this culture, has gotten so big. Go back 30 years, looking at all different cultures, go back 30 years. Actually, go 30. Hip-hop was just starting. Just before hip-hop, our culture had jazz music, which was dying, stolen, in inverted commas, by other cultures. Other people turned it into rock music. They did this. Jazz musicians weren't making music anymore. So we didn't have a thing that was our own. So when hip-hop started, that was the one thing that an entire culture around the world invested in. It blew up big because we weren't replacing things that we're already listening to. We're being told jazz is dead. All of our jazz musicians sat in the back of Elvis concerts. We don't have anything. So when Run DMC and all those guys picked up, we were like, this is it. This is all we've got. So when I look at my friends now who still go back and listen to songs from the 50s and 60s because they're reminiscing, and it's like, calm, we have a little bit of jazz, some Motown, and then hip-hop happened. So we had to invest so much. That's why it's so big now. We haven't spread across different genres. There's no country music, there's no rock music, there's no punk music. We had hip-hop, and then hip-hop grew into what it is now. Only now are we seeing hip-hop do what all of those other genres of music have had the luxury of doing because they had the fan base, the money, and the right people behind it. When hip hop has spawned another culture, which is this whole mumble rap. I don't look at mumble rap as a subculture of hip hop. Mumble rap is its own thing, and people have heard me explain this many times. Mumble rap isn't like the way hip hop started. When you look at the way 50 Cent started, he was out here grinding, he signed to the right people, he made the right songs, made the right chart albums, and he peaked, and his music was in nightclubs, his music was blasting out of cars. That's how those people got their rise. They hit that certain point where they were selling multi-platinum albums, and they were actually selling albums because we were all going to music shops and buying them. A mumble rapper now can go, yo, I want to make music. Press record on their phone, press record on a device, straight to Spotify. Spotify now, in the last 12 months, has single-handedly been saved by the people who make mumble rap or in that subgenre, building their own following, regardless of the labels and the right people and the people selling their albums and the shop selling their albums. And they have gotten to the level where they are making platinum songs, platinum albums. Controversial as it is, their path is very different to what hip-hop was 10 years ago. So that's a different genre. They sound different. Their trajectory to fame is different. The way they deal with fame is different. Lil Uzi said himself, he doesn't see himself lasting in hip-hop longer than 3 years. 10 years ago, if you heard Kanye say that, if you heard 50 Cent say that, they would be written off and it would be over. That would be done. We'd sign them off before we hit 3 years because, why don't you have faith in it? You're supposed to be grinding now like you were when you were making those videos on YouTube and all of them things. And it's just a different genre now.
What do you look at the way, if Jay-Z was bringing out a new album, right, back in the day, there'll be a whole marketing campaign around
100%.
it. You'll see billboards around New York, there'll be a solid campaign, right?
100%.
Then after you bring out the album, you would go and tour. You would do a world tour for however long, 8 months, however long it took, right? And he wouldn't be bringing out new music now. What these people now are doing with the presence of social media applications like SoundCloud, you hear about SoundCloud rappers, and then again these apps, these Google Play, whatever, Google Music, what they're doing now is that they are bringing out constant flow of music. Lil Uzi, for example, could be in his bedroom just writing a 4-bar, 8-bar, 16, turn it into a single, release it then and there. He's done it in 1 hour.
Done.
And he will continue to bring out fresh music while doing his tours, while releasing his albums, and it's about giving the audience that constant supply of musical talent, which is part of the reason why I think this new genre is growing to the exponential rate that it's growing. I see apps that are promoting them like what's the name of that one? Instagram accounts like Daquan and Worldstar and all of these ones that they're promoting guys like Fatboy SSC. Like Lil Pump, Gucci Gang. Right? And it's with this whole influx of social media that's allowing people to put their music on these platforms at a constant rate. That is how it's feeding the audience. We want to be fed. We don't want to wait for an album to come out. Wait 8 months while you tour the world to bring out next album. Ludacris used to go on about how he's one of the most influential rappers because he brought out an album every year. Okay, you did bring out an album every year, but these guys are bringing out singles every week.
Every week. Can't contest that.
Every week, and it's there for people to be had. So, in my opinion, that also is a really strong reason of why it's grown so much.
When you look at that exact model of the rate at which people produce, none of this conversation talks about quality. That's a whole different conversation. It's purely quantity and keeping yourself front and center of attention. When you scroll on a social networking app and any of these apps, front and center is as little as a couple of minutes, as long as a couple of hours. Music nowadays is exactly the same. People won't go, oh, I heard this album that came out last month. People will write it off when you say last month. So people churn at that rate. Very few musicians from kind of the new age of hip-hop, not new age of hip-hop, I'm talking up to 2013, because things changed when 2013 happened. Up to then, very few musicians understood it and did it, or did it successfully. Lil Wayne, huge Lil Wayne fan, so I have to say it. Lil Wayne is one of the people who did it to the point where even the genre and the people in hip hop were laughing at him, yet they were feeding and eating off his fan base. Lil Wayne was churning out how many dedication mixtapes, how many mixtapes he was churning out. He was doing it and he was making it known when YouTube was blowing up. He was posting videos of him rapping on tour buses and recording in hotel rooms, and he was like, this is the grind that you have to do. Other rappers were like, nah, I'll release an album in two years, innit? He was the one who started it, and his situation is all messed up now, but the fact that he saw it and he was churning out to the point where 2008, everyone was rapping Lil Wayne songs. Everyone knows every word to a milli.
Everyone.
And that build-up is what music nowadays has capitalized and made easier to do. He still had to produce a mixtape, go to one of these websites that allowed you to download a mixtape for free that everyone's questioning now, but Dat Piff made Lil Wayne's mixtape career. When you look now at like the lineup of, look at 2017, the lineup of people who've become prominent, Lil Pump, all of the Lils that exist, you've got all of them who, when you look at the audience of these guys and you look at the mad videos that they post on Instagram, and you're like, that's a madness. How is this the same genre as the Jay-Z fans who are still singing every word to Big Pimpin'? The Kendrick fans who literally know every word to every Kendrick song. The J. Cole fans who doing all the madness. So the fact that we've reached that stage now where we can branch out, and the older genres are now learning from these young guys. Like, people are bridging that gap. Jay-Z's last album, 444, was marketed purely for people who understand how streaming works. Purely marketed for that. And when you look at Jay-Z 10 years ago, he's doing exactly what you said. He was like, build up, drops an album, big day, everyone's partying, everyone's celebrating this new album release. If you didn't have it in the first week, it's over. If you didn't have that CD waving it at concerts, it was over. And now, Tidal, that's it. Like, you press a button, his entire album's there. He'll tell you a story with every song. He knows, like, people know that these streaming services now hold the power, which explains that the article which you shared with me about the power of things like Spotify and the things that they can do. These are now big players. So everyone I meet now, like, I ask in a music conversation, what streaming service do you use? Who would have ever thought that was a question you'd ask 5 years ago when you're asking, how do you consume music?
And I think that is a perfect time to stop this. So again, thank you, my man.
Thank you very much.
And Why So Social coming soon. Peace out.